Hi everyone, Ryan Duffy, Technical Ruminant Manager with Precision Microbes.
Hi, Tommy Heffernan here with Precision Microbes as well, and today we're talking about lamb health and the use of our advanced gut stabiliser. So we'll press go with 10 minutes in this Tech and 10. So look, some of the simple things, maybe we repeat ourselves a lot, but when we think about lamb health, colostrum is a key driver, isn't it?
Yep, it's the foundation for getting good, successful lamb rearing. So yep, definitely.
And the yolk is quite interesting in the sense that she has, I think it's 19, she's the highest percentage of solids, fat and protein than any other species, okay, particularly ruminants.
Yeah, so if we even translate over what we're looking for in a Brix refractometer, it's very different to what we would expect in a cow. Whenever we're using milk replacers, we're mixing that very differently to milk replacers we'll be using for lambs.
Okay.
So again, we're aiming for that roughly 20%.
Okay, is it 24% over on the Brix if you are testing colostrum quality?
Over 24%. In cattle, it's 22%. So 24% for sheep.
You covered in another video about feeding the yolk, but when do the antibodies get produced? When do we think about that colostrum quality?
It starts before the 6 weeks out from lambing.
Okay. And prepartum nutrition has a big impact on colostrum quality.
Oh, big impact on that. Twin lamb disease, poor, slow, weak lambs. So it's really important that we really maximize feeding ewes in the last part of pregnancy. 70% of all lamb growth is going to occur in that period.
One thing I've seen in the past is agalactia, or poor milk production in ewes lambing down or hoggets. Energy and protein is key, isn't it, come up to lambing time? It's not just the energy in the diet, you need to have enough protein in the diet as well as percentage-wise.
You're talking 16-18% getting in there in respect to metabolizable protein levels.
Okay, so you're knowing your silage DMD if you don't, or your protein values of silage, if it's below 12, you just need to look at that. Okay, so when we think about volume, that would look, a lot of it's left to Mother Nature, but it's 50 mils per kilo is your general rule for your lambs with colostrum.
Yeah, it's really the size of their own belly which is going to determine it. So yeah, 50 mils per kilo within the first 2 hours, 100 mils within the first 4 hours, and then ideally you want to get 200 mils per kilogram into each lamb by the end of the day.
So kind of nearly a litre in the first 24 hours, kind of an example. Genetics drives feeding and that drives lamb growth, but a big thing when we look at infectious disease, and we'll talk about some of them, we're trying to balance infection pressure and immunity. So colostrum is a big part of the immunity story. So we drive up immunity and we're trying to drive down the amount of bugs that lambs are exposed to. So hygiene is critical. That's the piece where we drive down infection pressure. We'll talk about E. coli and watery mouth. But where is the sources for infection for a lamb in the early doors of life?
Yeah, well, look, it's going to get even more and more tricky as the lambing season goes on, but getting around even their own mother, because if they have a lot of wool around their mammary glands, we can get a lot of hair, we can get a lot of dirt, a lot of stuff caked on there, and a lot of lambs that will just be sucking by themselves can end up getting issues.
So the best way to do that is have good drainage and plenty of straw, keep the environment for the udder as clean as possible before lambing time. Obviously we've got the navel, we've got the the tag sometimes, we've got tail docking, but the most common source of infection is, Jesus, this is a mouth, is orally, okay? So orally is the main one, and one of the diseases people talk about, because it leads into our advanced gut stabiliser, is E. coli, watery mouth. Sometimes a lot of Streptococcus and jointed as well. There is infection pressure on the farm, but the main source of these can be a number of ways, but it's oral, isn't it?
Yeah, look, again, we have condensed lambing seasons. A lot happens in a very short space of time. A plethora of bugs can build up. Just so happens that the likes of E. coli and strep are really, really incriminated. They're the ones that are found most commonly. So how can we minimize the impact of these? This is something we have to be asking ourselves. Whenever we've got colostrum management so well, we've got nutrition of the ewe so well, how do these guys actually get in on farms?
Okay, so when we think about E. coli, it multiplies every 20 minutes, which is not much, but if you've 3 bugs, 3 E. coli, in 6 hours, that's 380 million. It's a massive multiplying effect. Streptococcus, one tip, if you see that causing joint ill on farm, it can be spread by hands, the ewe is the carrier. Mm-hmm. So if you're dealing with a lot of joint ill, I would certainly glove up for every ewe. And just be very careful if you're cross-sucking ewes and with your finger and stuff like that. It can be start of the problems. But all these bugs, one of the challenges, Ryan, is they love damp, moist conditions.
We often say we want to keep these bugs cold, hungry and thirsty. That's exactly what we need to do. It's hard to keep them cold whenever we have so many sheep lambing at the same time. It's hard to keep them hungry when there's so much organic matter around. trying to deal with drainage is so important in any sheep enterprise.
But drainage is key, avoiding water leakage and loads of straw for your close-up ewes coming up to lambing time. And in your individual pens, same rules apply.
You've mentioned header tanks as well in the past.
Yeah.
So again, if we're not cleaning out header tanks and we're getting a potential continual source of infection coming from these because they haven't been cleaned out between lambing seasons, we're again just asking for more problems. So just have a wee look at header tanks.
When I'm testing water, I went into a flock, it was a couple of years ago now, but they had these pipes with the cutout holes, which are lovely in the lambing pens. But when we went in and we checked water, the TVCs were off the roof.
Right.
Okay. Flow rate is key to water. So that's another thing. All right. So we're trying to reduce infection pressure. Obviously, the vulnerable lamb plant, so your triplets or your weaker twins, twins. I'm going to leave it in. Cold is a big one. Cold and energy are a big one. So warming boxes are essential for young lambs. Having glucose on the ready, having your spare colostrum there. A lot of people talk about colostrum supplements versus colostrum replacers.
And even bovine colostrum.
Yeah.
But again, go back to what we were seeing up there. Our Brix for sheep is 24%. So it's very different to bovine colostrum. Now it's still better than nothing. But at the same time, we have to be cognizant that it's not the same. Just like what you're kind of getting at in respect to colostrum replacers.
Yeah, and just on bovine colostrum, a very good friend of mine, a neighbour of mine, he had issues with lambs dying, and we sourced it back. You can get an autoimmune or anemia in lambs, sometimes when you feed bovine colostrum as well to lambs. So that's something people need to be aware of.
Incredible.
Yeah, so just something you need to be aware of. Right, we want to get the lamb right. So our advanced gut stabilizer, we know all these challenges. Let's talk about the practical benefits of our complementary feed for lambs. It's pre, pro, and postbiotic.
Yep, you've kind of already hit it there. We have triple action: prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic. I know people are probably fed up with us talking about the differences.
We're not going to stop anytime soon.
No, but prebiotics are essentially the feedstock for beneficial microbes. Probiotics are the beneficial microbes, and postbiotics are the end products of their own fermentation of the beneficial microbes. So we have all three in there. And why do we have that, Tommy?
It's designed to go in at birth. It's a protect and promote. So 6 mils orally per lamb. Okay, talk to your vet about the AGS lamb. 6 mils. You must remember the lamb's stomach, the pH is quite high as well, because that's with a great environment. So the prebiotic is in to help promote the development of the young gut. The pro and postbiotic element is there to try and create some competition against some of these harmful bugs we see on farms. So the promote piece is promoting good gut health with the prebiotic, and the protect piece is the pro and postbiotic.
You've kind of got it there. Like if we can even half the frequency of replication of E. coli, that'll be significant. Now the one thing is, every time that replicates, regardless of the numbers, every time that replicates, it liberates its endotoxin. So if we can minimize that or reduce it by 25%, 50%, it'll be significant in respect to the amount of water you might on farm.
And you're doing with a biological product as well. So some people will be familiar with using oral antibiotics at birth as a management tool, and it worked quite well. We also know that creates resistance issues in our flocks, and people are reducing that massively. So this is another tool, a biological tool, putting with good management to help the young gut of the lamb. And that's a kind of key element. It is a tool. It's part of, it's not going to solve all problems, but we've got excellent feedback, particularly over the last 2 years since we introduced Enterococcus lactis to the mixture. It's a really excellent product, or an excellent tool on farm.
So it's coming in 300 mils.
300 mils, yeah.
So that's a 50 dose bottle.
50 dose bottle, yeah. And there's a little plunger with it as well. And you're literally 2 ml plungers, so you're given 3 squirts. It's quite a large amount, but when we think about efficacy and what we're trying for this complementary feed to do, promote and protect, we need that volume going in. And again, it's down the neck as soon as you can after birth.
Sounds like a valuable tool in lamb health programs, so it's well worth exploring.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's AGS. And if you have questions about our advanced gut stabilizer, again, talk to your own vet about the product. Or if you have questions for ourselves about application or anything like that, info@precisionmicrobes.com.
Brilliant.